you ready to Snapplique? This video is part of a series for the Happy Halloween quilt by Amy Bradley Designs. Snapplique is an automated method to take a paper quilt pattern, scan it into the ScanNCut, and convert it into a machine embroidery design. You can even use the ScanNCut to cut out all your pieces. You'll be able to create blocks like this for your quilt with an embroidery machine and no longer have to go around each individual piece with a domestic sewing machine. This method is a lot of fun and it's a real time saver, and I hope you join me. Let's get to it. I'm getting ready to scan in the cat for the Happy Halloween quilt, and because the pattern pieces are on two different sheets, I am using my 24-inch scanning mat. So the pattern pieces are on page 14 and 15, and the placement sheets are on page 35 and 36. So I need to save, this is the placement sheet. I want this to be the JPEG that is the background design in Brilliant, so I need to save this to a JPEG. The way to do that is to touch scan and scan to USB. And I have the scan size set to 12 by 12, and I'm going to tell it start. So if you only buy a 24-inch scanning mat, then you can tell it just to scan however much of it you want and save some time that way. It says the file has been saved to the USB. I'm going to tell it OK, and it brings us right back to the main scan menu. So I'm going to take the placement sheets out, and I'm going to put in the pages for the pattern pieces. Now this one has inside outside because of the letters, so I'm not going to tell it outside only on this one. I'm going to tell it to do the regions. We'll see what happens. So I'm going to scan to cut data, and the scan area is 12 by 12. I want it to be 12 by 24, and the recognition mode is color, but I'm going to touch the wrench, and here's where you can change the recognition mode. I'm going to tell it 12 by 24, tell it OK, and start. So I'm going to tell it OK. It says frame the image, but I'm going to leave it like it is because I'll clean the mat up in Brother Canvas online. Okay, here's where I get the choice of outside only or the regions, and I'm going to choose regions because I need the inside of these letters. I'm going to tell it OK, and it wants to know where I want to save it. So I can save it in the machine, in the cloud, on the internet, or USB. In the cloud, and I'm going to tell it OK. All right, that's it. Now I'm ready to go out to Canvas Workspace and clean up the mat. I need to clean up the scan that I did for the cat, and I am at canvasworkspace.brother.com. I'm going to click on the My Projects tab, and I want to show you, I ended up scanning in the cat a couple of times. The very first scan I did was this one right here, and I'm going to click on Edit and show you. I used the color recognition, and I still ended up with double lines on the pieces. And that is not really what I wanted. That will not work. I'm going to delete all of this. That's from the first scan. So I scanned it in on black and white and did inside outside on the recognition. And let me pull that over and show you. For some reason, that one worked fine. You've got to have inside outside in order to get the inner letters. I want to make this just a little bit bigger. And the first thing I want to do is to group the outside of the letter and the inside of the letter so that they stay the same. And I'm going to, without moving I've got a little word in there or something. I don't want to capture that. So I'm capturing the outside of the letter and the inside of the letter. And I came in from this direction as opposed to from the left, because then I would capture this and I don't want that. I'm highlighting just the letters, and then the letters are in the right orientation and spacing right now for that sweater. So I'm gonna take just the letters, right click and group. So now I can grab just the letters and leave those little words off the mat. Strawberries. I can grab just the letters and leave everything else on the mat. And I want to get just these pieces. I'm not rotating them at all. I suspect they are in the right orientation. I want to group these. Okay, and I can delete everything else off the mat. I want to right click and group, and then I'm going to come up to edit and flip horizontal. That looks good. And then right click and ungroup. There we go. So now I'm going to group these by those pieces that are going to share the same fabric. So the eyes and the collar are going to be cut at the same time. Put the sweater right here and leave the letters right there. That looks really good. Now for each one of these, I have the size down here in the bottom corner, and I add about 1 inch to 1.5 inches to each one of these measurements, and that way I know how big to cut the fabric. For these two, I want to group them, and that's going to help me out there. So I've written a little sticky note with the number of the fabric, and the number of the fabric corresponds to the numbers in the fabric key that I have on my blog, powertoolswiththread.com, and the link to the blog is below in the description box. And then the key on the fabric kit from Two Chicks Quilting told me exactly which piece of the pattern that was for. You can certainly source your own fabric and make it any color that you want. So I have all of the measurements written down here now, and I'm going to put Heat and Bond Light on the back of the fabrics and get it cut out. So now I need to save this. I'm going to highlight it up here in the left corner and call it cat-HH for Happy Halloween. I'm going to go to Project, and there's an inbox with an arrow and a plus sign to save as a new project, and it's complete. Now I'm going to do a download. I'm going to click this great big download button right here on the left. I'm going to download it one time. Download to PC also goes to a Mac, and that's the file that will become the embroidery design. And here I'm going to download to the ScanNCut, and that will be ready to cut out. I'm ready to cut out the cat, and I have all of my fabrics on the mat, and this is the standard tack mat. However, it is very, very old, and I have restuck this mat with glue called Zig. It is not original, new, out of the box sticky, and I can put pretty side up and Heat and Bond side down. The Heat and Bond Light has the paper off of the back. If you have a brand new mat, I suggest that you take a t-shirt and kind of pounce a clean t-shirt on the mat to get it a little less sticky, and you may want to even cut your fabric pretty side down and mirror the pieces or leave them the way they were on the original orientation from the scan. Definitely do a test if you have a brand new mat. If you're using the low tack mat, again, do the t-shirt thing and get it a little less sticky before you go and cut. On the white fabric, I have marked some hash marks in black Crayola marker around the outside edges and corners so that I can make sure I get the piece exactly where I need it to be. From the main menu, we have pattern and scan. These are patterns that were in the machine when you bought it. I need to get the pattern from the cloud or off the internet. I'm going to retrieve data. And it wants to know, where do I want to get the data from? I can get it from inside the machine, from the cloud, from a USB, or I might be cabled to my computer. I'm going to get it from the cloud or the internet. The cloud is part of the internet, okay? And right here, I've got a black bar at the bottom of the screen, and that means it's set for a 12 by 12 inch mat, and I'm cutting on a 12 by 24, so I need to change that. I'm going to go to the wrench, and I'm going to change my cut area from the 12 by 12 to the 12 by 24 and tell it okay. This is good. I'm going to tell it okay. And what I need to do now is to scan the mat and take a picture of it so that I know where all the fabric is. Right here, there's a blue box with a bar across it. That's the scan the mat button, and I'm going to tell it start. This looks good. Now I can see exactly where I need to move the pieces to make sure that they are on the fabric. This is the wonderful part about the ScanNCut, that you only have to put your fabric approximately where you think it needs to go, and you can fine tune it later. To get to the pieces on the bottom half of the mat, I'm going to touch the arrow, and then I'll be able to move these right where I want. This is why you group those like that. It's wonderful to be able to just move them at one time. I'm going to tell it okay. Please select. I'm going to tell it cut and start. So it'll all be cut in less than 2 minutes. All right. I'm going to eject the mat. Let's see how we did. Perfect. They're ready to go onto the block. I need to digitize the cat, and I am in Embrilliance, and I'm actually in Stitch Artist right now. I have Stitch Artist 3. To activate Stitch Artist, you click on this little sundial looking icon right here, and the first thing I want to do is to bring in the background image. And here he is right here, looking very dapper in his, looks like a university sweater. How cute. And let's go ahead and bring in the vector graphics as well. I'm going to click on the vector button and bring those in. This is from the scan that I downloaded from Brother Canvas. And first thing I want to do is to get these in the right orientation. I'm going to jump out of Stitch Artist, and over here in the Objects panel, I want to highlight the BOO and rotate to the left. There they go. That's good. And the sweater, and I want to rotate that to the right. Perfect. Okay. When you are doing this, this is the stitch order essentially, and you can look at the background image. Let me size it up, and you can see which pieces are what by looking at the numbers on the page there for the placement sheet. The face is first. I'm going to highlight the face, right click and move first. And then second are the eyes. Let me scroll down to get those. And you can drag it, grab the picture and drag it up over the one you want it to be after. That puts them after the face. That's perfect. And the eyelids are next, so they are not overlapping. I'm going to grab both of those. Hold down the Control key and you can click them individually and they will group like that. You can move both of those at the same time, and then the nose And let's see, number 5 is the sweater. That's where we are. If you notice, the image keeps moving down one all the time. The O for the far one over here is number 7. Which one is that? That's this one. I'm going to move it up. And then the next O is number 8. And the B is number 9. And let's see, his collar goes on after the sweater. I missed that. Let me put that right there. That's good. I think we got it all. All right. Now that that's done, I want to save this. And I'm going to say File up here on the left. And I'm just going to save Working File. And I'm going to change it to cat.be. BE is the working file for Embrilliance. And if it's hard to see, you can certainly click on the color chip and change the colors of the shapes if you want to. I think I'm going to be okay. One thing I want to do is to, I'm going to highlight the image, and back in Stitch Artist, I want to click on this Show Hide Image icon right here and make that go away. And I want to click on the shirt and bring it into the hoop, and it's not level. Well, I'm going to rotate it just a little bit. If you hold down the space bar, your arrow will turn into a hand and you can pan. I want to get it as straight as possible. Probably wasn't scanned straight. All right, that's pretty good. And now I'm going to bring the background image back in, and I want to scale the image to the size of the vector graphic. And, ooh, that's pretty close. Not at all. How about that? The image is not to scale. So you want to be sure to scale the image to the vector, not the other way around. That's pretty close. And even the image needs just a tiny bit of rotation to make it straight. That's better. Now I can just begin moving the pieces where they need to align on the graphic. I'm going to highlight them over here. It's easier to do that. I'm just going to pull it in there. Looks like my picture is still a little small. It doesn't have to be exact. It is just giving you an idea of where to place the pieces. The eyebrows, I'm going to highlight them both and bring them over. Actually, I want to put these here. I'm going to get the eyes, and I want to set them up on the eyes so that they are right. I'm going to hide this. And the eyes need to have these points on center right here and enough of a gap that your hidden stitches will be removed. If you do something and make a boo-boo, hit Control-Z, and that fixes it. That looks real good. It looks good down here. They're pretty close together right there, and it looks good over here. That will be fine, I think. I'm going to hit the Control key and my arrow and move it just one tiny bit, both of these, towards center. That's good. I don't want that to show right there. These need to move down. I'm happy with that. That looks really good for the eyes. Well, on the eyes, I'm going to highlight all 3 of them, and I'm going to hit the lock, and that way they stay where I want them. The next thing I need to do is to make sure that this is saved. I'm just going to Control-S. All right, everything is in the right stitch order and everything is placed appropriately. Let me hide the image and take a look. I want to align the face and the sweater vertically. So I'm going to click the line for the face and the sweater. I'm going to jump out of Stitch Artist and click the Alignment tab and click Center and Apply. There we go. Just a little bit of movement, and that was all right. Now I need to make sure there are no broken graphics on any of these. I'm going to click Design up at the top so that everything is selected. Go back into Stitch Artist, and I want to click this off. Let's see if we see any movement. Create outline and reconstruct outline. Little bit. We had a little bit of broken graphics. That's okay. That looks good now. And let's take the eyes and the lids and make sure that we've got an even amount here. And then I want to make sure you can't see the background fabric back here. I'm going to click on the nose and I'm going to move it up like that right there. Everything looks centered now. It looks really good. Everything looks very even. I'm ready to apply stitches to this. I select design up at the top again, and I'm going to click the applique button. And the default is the E stitch. I don't want that. I'm going to click on the applique tab, and I'm going to change E stitch to blanket stitch, 2.5 to 2.0, hit the tab, change 4 to 3.0, and hit that. That looks real good. Let's see. I don't want to see any weird stitches of the eyes hanging out anywhere. This looks real good. Let's get out of Stitch Artist and take a look and see if we have all the hidden stitches removed. I'm going to click the Remove Hidden Stitches button. There we go. Yeah, that looks good. I've got one stitch right there I don't like, and I've got a couple of stitches right here hanging down that I'm not a fan of. To remove those, you can, if you want to use the Stitch Simulator, if you don't have Embrilliance Enthusiast, you can go back and look at the vampire video. I did show how to remove stitches. There's also videos from Lisa Shaw on YouTube on how to remove stitches using the Stitch Simulator. However, if you have Enthusiast, all you need to do is click the Enthusiast button right here, and that changed. You can see all of the little stitches now, and all you have to do is click the stitch and hit delete on your keyboard, and that will make it go away. Are they hidden? No, that's from the eye. Why isn't that? Strawberries. That's from the nose. I don't want that hanging out there like that. What is that? And why is it hanging up there? Give me that nose. And let's move it. And I can't. Let me highlight the eyes. Oh, because it's locked. That's why. All right. Strawberries start right here. I want to remove these stitches from the eyes, but it's locked. So let me unlock it. I'm going to highlight it and click the unlock. And that will allow me to do some editing with Stitch Artist on these. Let me hit that and hit delete. And this one and this one. These are all under the lids. I just don't want them sticking out. And this is covered by the nose. Let me take this one, I'll just move it right there. And so it's not seen. That is, these are under the nose. That looks pretty good. And if you want, you can certainly nudge it up a tiny bit. I'm going to get out of Stitch Artist and then nudge the eyes up just a tad. And then I can nudge the nose up just a little bit as well. That will make sure that we don't have any stitches hanging out where I don't want them. That looks really good. Oh, I got a few others. Let me get back into Enthusiast. Yeah, if you get an opportunity to get Enthusiast, I recommend that you look into it. I think you will like it. Let's come down here and take a look and see what we've got. We have some stitches that didn't remove, so I'm going to highlight this and just move it up just a tiny bit, and then let's take a look at the hidden stitches. Much better. See that? That looks good. You can't see that. Making sure that all of the stitches are going the right direction around the holes. That looks good. I've got two that are close together here. That's a little weird. Oh, and we have some sticking out. Let's see. We've got some sticking out over here. So this is removed. This one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose this O, and I want to move it over just a little bit and see if that is not better. These are being removed, but I still have something hanging out down here. I'm going to jump into Enthusiast and just delete the stitches. That looks a lot better. I got two of them here right next to each other. Not sure why. Don't need that. And this, see, this is how you can play with this. Very nice. I think he's going to stitch out great. I'm going to save this now, Control S. All right, now I need to bring in the lines that are going to be his whiskers and part of his shirt and all that. I want to go back into Stitch Artist and bring the design back in. This is a little bit off from the picture, but it's perfectly fine. It's not going to be that big of a deal. I want to create his whiskers and smile and all of that. I want to create, design, and begin new design, because this is not going to be applique. This is going to be a run stitch, this design right here. I'm going to use the Bezier tool, which is right next to Draw with Points. Just click that. I'm going to click the left end of it and the right end of it, and you're going to get a straight line, and hit enter. And then you want to take your cursor and drag it up until it turns into a black arrow, and then you can just move this up and make a nice pretty curve. And that's it. The design, it says line down here. That's what I want. I'm going to do it again, and I'm going to continue on for all the whiskers and the smile and his little arms. That's fine. All right, now all of these lines, I'm just going to click this right here, design, and I want to make sure that these are all run stitches. I'm going to click the run box, and down here in the properties, the run, I want it to be a double run on a 2.0 stitch length. Great, that looks good. And for all of the whiskers and the smile, I'm going to highlight all of these. I want to change their color to white, because those are going to be stitched on black fabric. And then these two can stay a different gray so that they don't get blended in with everything else. Okay, that looks good. And I'm going to choose the circle in the drawing tools. I need to bring my little picture back in. I'm going to hold down the shift key to make a pretty little perfect circle. I want that to be a fill. I'm going to click the fill button. Looks good. And right click copy, right click paste. I'm going to put it right over here. That looks good. Let's remove the back image and make sure it's not sitting on the nose, which it is. I'm going to move it up just a tiny bit. And I want these to be a different color. It doesn't matter what color, just a different color. That looks great. I'm going to take both of these and bump them up just a bit. He needs the line between his eyes. I'm going to bring that back in. And Bezier tool again, I'm going to get rid of that so I can see exactly where to start and exactly where to finish, and then bring the image back in and hit enter. Oh, there is a little bit of background fabric. Okay. And that needs to be a run stitch, and that probably needs to stitch out before the nose. So I want to open this up, and I'm going to grab this on the picture and hover it up over the nose. Let me move this. There, so it'll stitch the eyelid and then the nose, and I want that to be black. Perfect. So I'm ready to save this into an embroidery design. I'm going to Control S for one last save of the working file, and I'm going to file save as stitch in working and cat.pes is fine. Okay, so I'm gonna open a new tab and I want to bring in my cat, and the cat PES file is right here. That automatically loads in the center. And it's so strange. It has changed colors from flip-flop the black and the tan color scheme. I don't know why. I'm sure there's a reason. I'm sure I pressed a button, whatever. But I'm pretty happy with this. I do want to change out, make sure that the, let's see, placement for the eyes, final for the eyes, and then see it switch colors on me to mess with me. Placement for the brow, let me grab this one and bring it up, so then that one stitches, and then it'll do final. So that's about the only thing I can do to minimize trips to the ironing board, but that's just weird the way it does that. I don't know. It's fine. Okay, so what do I see here? I don't know if those are jump stitches or what. Let's get into Enthusiast and take a look at that. What is that? Let me go back over here and look. And I don't see it. You know what it is? It's a jump stitch. So I will trim those out in the final design. We're going to make it work. Software. What a thing. Okay. All right. This is good. I'm going to bring in the background quilting now. And I want to make sure that that stitches first. Move first. There we go. And he's good. I'm going to save it. And let's send it over to the Luminaire. File sent to machine. Yay! Isn't he just the cat's meow? Oh, come on. You knew that was coming. You guys go sew something. Bye.